Hello and welcome to Euphoria. On this YouTube channel you'll find updates on my Lego city with its modular buildings, squares and little details, as well as videos on other Lego topics such as builds, ideas and techniques, and my own designs. In this video we're going to take a look back at how I started my Lego city. First of all, welcome to our new subscribers and thanks for subscribing to the channel. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. It would be great to welcome you on board. For those of you who haven't been here since the start of the channel, I thought you might like to have a quick look at how I started with building my Lego city. And we may even get round to discussing where we're going with the city. So please stick with me and enjoy this video. Don't forget to hit the like button if you liked the video, because it all helps YouTube know that you're out there watching. I love the Creator Expert range of modular buildings from Lego, and this series of sets has run since 2007. There have been 19 buildings in the modular buildings series so far, not including the sets that are modular compatible, such as the Sanctum Sanctorum building and the Daily Bugle. Now, I've had the notion of creating a Lego city based on the use of modular buildings for quite a long time. Of course, there are lots of other Lego sets that could be used to start a Lego city layout, including those from the Creator line, the City line, or even Friends sets. Of course, it's not a new idea. There are quite a few people with huge Lego cities in their basement, and quite a few of those with YouTube channels to show them off. At first I was rather discouraged, because I don't have room to build a massive Lego city like that, but then I found smaller cities through YouTubers such as Small Brick City and others. So I started wondering whether size was actually the main factor in building a Lego city. Perhaps I could still make a small Lego city that was fun and interesting, at least for me. So I started with a couple of the regular modular buildings. In fact, the pet shop was the first one I bought, followed closely by the brick bank. They were the sets that were available from Lego at the time. After that, I started experimenting with modifying the standard sets by changing the brick bank set from its original corner configuration into an extended straight modular building. I was happy with that, so then I tried making a building to my own design, the old astronomical clock tower, which I thought would be an easy combination of a couple of Harry Potter sets, but turned out to be a bit harder than I first thought. Of course, you don't have to do that, but I found it an interesting and enjoyable challenge. Then, one day, I realised that with just 2 or 3 buildings, I could start a small city layout to display my buildings. In other words, you can start small. I actually started my city with just a few buildings on this small table. You can get tables as small as 4 feet by 2 feet and still fit quite a few buildings and other things of interest on it. Rather than a massive road system, I decided to have a compact city without a lot of roads. In fact, without any roads. That meant I could have more buildings in a limited space with just passageways or lanes between them. Starting intentionally small meant that I wouldn't be frustrated that I haven't got a massive city. That's because I was more interested in setting up a small city layout so I could set out a few buildings that I liked in context. And then I was interested in designing and building my own buildings, as well as making the sets from Lego. So I could get a lot of pleasure out of building quite a small city, and if I liked what I was doing, then I could always continue. My initial layout consisted of just the brick bank and the pet shop. Those were the sets available at the time, with my clock tower mock that I'd just completed and another building that wasn't even finished. I put a small square in the middle, just 48 by 48 studs. I didn't have the right base plates or the right tiles to do what I really wanted, but I made a start with what I had. At the start, the square used some tiles that I got cheaply from a Lego pick-a-brick wall, which weren't the right colours, but they were enough to at least make a start. I was able to get more of the colours I really wanted later. And so, with a few minifigs and other accessories, the initial setup of my Lego city was on its way. The square provided a nice open space in the centre of the city, which not only provided a focus for the city, but also allowed the initial set of buildings that I had to be displayed around the edges of the square. Originally, the square had a diamond or star-shaped pattern in the centre, but then I started thinking that the city square really ought to have a nice fountain. I managed to find the little creator fountain set on eBay, which gave me a start with a fountain and was enough to set me off thinking about the design of a larger fountain. So I worked up a design, bought the parts I needed and built a fountain for the centre of the square. Then I decided that to fit the fountain and provide more room for buildings around the square, I really should expand the size of the square so that it was 2 base plates by 2 base plates, or 64 by 64 studs. I bought a table from IKEA, which was 75 centimetres by 150 centimetres, which is about 30 inches by 60 inches. And that fits 3 Lego base plates deep by 6 base plates wide. That's 18 base plates, which is plenty for a small city layout. I soon added more features, such as a bike rack, a monument and some street lights. Then I was able to add a couple more buildings around the square, including the Parisian restaurant modular building. I built another Lego set, which was the townhouse, cafe and pet shop create a 3-in-1 set, and from that I was able to build, through a lot of trial and error, my own development of that set, which was a little yellow townhouse and an apartment building with a cafe on the ground floor, and that found a place in the city as well. So I have my own little Lego city on its own table, formed around the central square, with its nice fountain and buildings all around the square. Now I had a small Lego city based around a central square, although it didn't fill the entire table that I had, so clearly there was room for more buildings. But I didn't want just a random selection of buildings in a random layout, so I started thinking about zoning. That's giving a different feel to different areas of the city. That became particularly important when I developed a new mock of a large office building and research centre, which I called the Ensgrave building. I needed to work out where to put that in the city, as I didn't want it to overshadow the other buildings. So I developed a simple system of layout planning, initially using paper and then using small models of the different buildings in the city. Through that process, we were able to zone the different styles of buildings. So we had the older buildings on one side and the more modern buildings on the other side, and from that the idea of the old town area and the business district started to form. And that's been the basis of the city layout on this single table since then, with the old town on the left and the business district on the right of the main plaza in the middle. As the city developed, I also started thinking about where the city was located and how it got there. That started the development of a backstory for the city and got me thinking about where it was and what style should it be. I'm not trying to make a model of an actual town, but instead I'm taking inspiration from some of the places I like, mostly in Europe, which still gives the opportunity to use a great deal of choice, either using the modular buildings from Lego, the city line of sets from Lego, some themed sets such as the Harry Potter ones, or to make my own designs. I even created an introductory film in the style of a 1960s travelogue to explain the location and attractions of the city. That was a lot of fun. More recently, I've been continuing with my own creations, such as the Honeyduke's Sweet Shop and the large mock of the new town hall. The introduction of those mocks into the city meant some considerable layout changes so that the impressive town hall building could take pride of place facing onto the main square. And so the development of the city continues with the addition of more buildings as well as streets and squares and other features. That original single table is now looking pretty full up, so I think we may need to be looking to expand the city soon. So I hope you'll stay with me as I continue to develop the city along similar lines and with new features. I'm unlikely to have dinosaurs, space rockets, Star Wars stuff or other themed sets in my city, although I've almost broken that rule already because I couldn't resist the Sanctum Sanctorum set from 2022. That's really a Marvel set, although it also meets the criteria for a modular building, but that building is so clearly identifiable that it's a prime candidate for some customization, so I intend to undertake a de-sanctification of that building to make it into a building that's really much less related to the Marvel Universe. Much as I would like to have trains serving the city, sadly they would take up too much room, and anyway I don't really believe in trains going round in circles, so adding trains would require a much bigger space. There are still lots of interesting ways to develop the city though. There are many more modular buildings from LEGO that don't yet find a place in the city, including the police station, the boutique hotel, and possibly the rather large Natural History Museum. And I have some ideas for more mocks, such as a pub or tavern. So if you have any ideas on how to develop the city, let me know. Should I add to and develop the medieval town centre? Maybe make more modern buildings for the business district? Or perhaps we should add a castle or surround the medieval old town with a protective city wall. Maybe there should be a river or canal in the city, or should it be by the sea? Perhaps I should have some roads and vehicles in the town, or should I keep the city centre pedestrian only, as befits an old European city centre? Let me know what you think about these ideas in the comments below. So that was a quick look at how I developed my LEGO city and some of the developments so far. Most of those developments and the design and build of the mocks are described and shown in videos on this channel, so have a look at the channel contents if you're interested. Don't forget to support the channel by hitting that like button and use the bell button to be notified of new videos, and subscribe to the channel to see more about my mocks, other builds and ideas, and more updates on my LEGO City.